Welcome to the API Academy video series. In this video, Architecting Your API, we provide an overview of the API architecture process as a starting point for a deeper exploration of design and implementation of best practices. What is API architecture? The term API design or API architecture refers to the process of developing a software interface that exposes backend data and application functionality for use in new applications. This includes the process of bridging between your APIs and developers to enable the creation of applications that allow end users to consume the APIs. It is important to remember that we are not just designing an interface that is used by a machine. What are the other pieces and layers that are going to be a part of the actual human experience as they go in and build applications that use the API? For an API to function effectively, it must meet a range of functional and non-functional requirements. The requirements will vary depending on context, but are likely to include security. The API is protected against attack and misuse. Usability. It is easy for developers to effectively leverage. Scalability. It is able to handle rapid spikes in traffic. Testability. It is designed to help developers experiment with functionality. And reliability. It is robust enough to minimize downtime. Meeting all these qualities can be a complex process, but it can be simplified by adopting a layered architectural style. Depending on requirements, a well-designed API server architecture might contain these layers. Creating a specialized layer to enforce security is a good way of abstracting the intricacies of security away from the design of the API itself. The security layer should function as a gatekeeper for the whole API architecture. You can reduce resource utilization by implementing a caching layer. The caching layer effectively delivers cached versions of a response and validation metadata from client applications. A representation layer provides a consumer-centric view of the data or service that an API is exposing. It makes it possible to isolate the interface from the data and the services that support it. This layer also allows an architect to build new interfaces for existing legacy services that may not be suitable for new consumers. For example, to adapt a SOAP-based web service for mobile client applications. Oftentimes, data will need to be aggregated or composed from multiple backend sources. This is where orchestration comes in. An orchestration layer may also call external APIs to provide enriched responses to client applications. Dividing your API architecture into layers simplifies the process of interface design. Each quality is abstracted away from API implementation and handled in a centralized server architecture which can be used across multiple interfaces. We will now look at a basic API design approach with a focus on interface design, testing, and implementation. The first two steps in a basic API design approach, determining goals and identifying users, are covered in a number of other videos in the API Academy series. Review these videos for more details on how and why setting business goals and understanding your audience can go a long way in achieving your API program goals. The next steps, interface design, evaluation, and implementation, go hand in hand and form some sort of a feedback loop. Let's start with interface design. All great designs start with a sketch or a series of sketches. What, for example, is the first step to constructing a building? When creating the Walt Disney Concert Hall, architect Frank Gehry and partners started the process with a number of simple sketches. Forget about the guts of the application. Gehry simply asked, what does the interface look like? This is where you get to list all your requirements, sketch your vision, and design for a variety. The next level up is to create a detailed sketch. Here you get to fill in some fundamental details like structural integrity, build on the architecture layers, and apply standards and protocols. Once you have the detailed schema, you can build prototypes, or in this case, a building model, to get evaluation from stakeholders. You can keep iterating back through the design until you have something that makes everyone happy. How is this translated into API design? Say we are constructing an API for a simple to-do list service. When creating the first rough sketch, make a note of all the parts and gather all the data elements that clients will need in order to interact with the service. With all the parts accounted for, you can now create a state diagram. Document all the actions or state transitions that will be available for the service. To find the most effective approach, try out different transitions and modify the schema. Clean up your strings to match well-known names and standards. Find the media type or message format with the closest alignment to the target protocol. And to help your testers and users, write up a profile document that defines all the descriptors used in the service. Then comes the prototyping stage. Here you build a mock service where the server should implement the state diagram created. Requests from clients should trigger the proper state transitions in the service. Each representation sent from the service should be in the right format and should include a link to the semantic profile created. And responses should include the appropriate hypermedia controls that implement the actions shown in the state chart and described in the profile document. Here are some best practices when prototyping. The prototype should be low investment. Remember that its purpose is for development, not production. To get you to testing straight away, use static responses and samples of everything, from parameters to policies. Static responses can be created using a number of tools, including lightweight servers, or existing infrastructure like an API gateway. With a mock service in place, simple API clients and complementary governance policies can also be sketched out. At this point, you should be able to turn over your design documents, your state charts and semantic profile to developers of both the server and client apps in order to start a specific implementation. At this point, client and server developers can build implementations relatively independently. They can use test runs to validate compliance with the state diagram and profile. The testing can take the form of peer reviews, replacing static codes with real ones, observing how the user interacts with the interface, including their feedback, or running tests in specific environments. Testing provides real insights into the data points and actions that the client will need to interact with your API service. Each testing step is an opportunity to go back and add new descriptors or improve on the state diagram. Once you have stable running code, there is one more step in our list, publishing. Publish your API and a profile document so that others can use them to create new services or client applications. Especially web APIs should publish at least one URL that is promised to always respond to clients, even in the far future. Equip your running service with adequate analytics function and define a communication channel for issues and feedback on your service. Implementation will help you analyze real usage, identify usability bugs, improve functionality, and iterate and evolve. Why is the interface design feedback loop important? Sketching and prototyping is used to find the best design, as it is difficult to change an API after release. Subsequently, testing and implementation will close the gap in your design. You've reached the end of the video Architecting Your API. You should now be able to summarize the requirements of a well-designed API, which includes security, usability, scalability, testability, and reliability. Identify the common architectural layers of an API, from orchestration to representation, caching, and security. Follow the steps of a basic API design approach. And utilize the interface design feedback loop. Thank you for watching. We will see you in other installments of the API Academy Learning Series.